Okay, so one last video real quick. Something that's come up since I posted those last videos is whether you should go for a soap bar or soap versus detergent or liquid shampoo. And one of the big things I think that a lot of people choose soap bars over detergent is this idea that they want to be chemical free, is what they call it. Let me explain that a little bit. Okay, so when you make a soap bar, what you have is fat, any fat or grease or any or oils. They're put together. You mix that with lighter. I mean, the easiest example is if you're out cooking, frying a bit of bacon or whatever it is you're cooking on the frying pan. You're out in the wilderness or whatever. You're cooking over your fire. It gets all fatty and greasy. If you get a little bit of ash, which is left on the fire, a little bit of potash, put it on. That's essentially lye. You put that on top, and what it'll do, it'll bubble up, and what comes on the top is the soap. You scrape that off, and you got soap. That's essentially how you make soap. It's fat, it's grease, and mixing grease with lye or anything caustic above a pH value of 7, and you'll get an emulsion, and that's basically where soap comes from. Then you have detergent. Now, detergent is derived from coconut. It's a sulphate. It comes from coconut. So if we take the soap bar, you have to use lye. Lye is a chemical. So it's a chemical process. It's a chemical reaction that makes soap or a soap bar. So everything is a chemical. Okay, there's no such thing as chemical free. It doesn't exist. Everything is a chemical. Hair itself. If you look up the chemical name of hair, you'll get a huge list of chemicals. They're the chemical names for hair itself. So everything, we are chemicals, everything is a chemical. So that's soap and hair. So detergent is a sulphate extracted from coconut. Now, the reason that people have been opposed to sulphates and detergents is there's one particular sulphate that's pretty bad. It's been linked to cancer tumours and all this kind of stuff. It's called sodium lauryl sulphate, SLS. This is also extracted from coconut, but the reason that sodium lauryl sulphate is particularly bad over other sulphates is the way that it's extracted. So it's not bad simply for being a sulphate, it's the way that it's extracted that creates the sodium lauryl sulphate. What we use instead is ammonium lauryl sulphate. So this is naturally derived from coconut, so it's actually closer to a natural process than other things, but because it's called a sulphate, people seem to think that chemicals are bad, don't do that, you know, so that's kind of where that comes from. Also, because the way that a detergent works and the way that soap works, again, the way that soap works is very different. So with soap, what you do is you take the soap, you need to manipulate the soap to make it foam up, and then you rub it on yourself, and then that's what cleans it off. So you scrub, put it on, all done. Sulphate, or a surface acting agent. A sulphate is a shortening term for surface acting agent. So what a surface acting agent or sulphate does is you put it in the water, and it disperses the dirt. There's no scrubbing necessary. Just merely by the sulphate coming in contact with water, it will break down the grease and wash it right off. You don't have to scrub anything at all. So that's how sulphate works. Obviously, there's no fat in it as well. The way that the reason it works with the body is the body produces natural oils and greases. People are naturally dirty, and so the detergent is the other part of the compound, the opposite part of the compound that washes it off. So that's how detergent works. So that's the difference between a soap and a detergent. Detergents are also they're more water soluble than soap, so it's easier to rinse out. And also with soaps, if you wash your hands with a soap, you tend to feel that there's something left on it, whereas with a detergent, you won't feel that. And I suspect it's something to do with all the fats and stuff that are in it. So yeah, that's basically the difference between a soap bar and a detergent, and why I would suggest finding a liquid dreadlock shampoo rather than a soap bar.